Tip number 1, change your hotkeys to WASD rather than the arrow keys in settings. That way when you press Q to aggressive attack, you can respond to threats a lot faster. Tip number 2, you're going to find resource crates just lying around on the floor. Make sure that you pick them up, because the food and energy crates, as an example, are so valuable because you don't have to supply workers for that extra food. So you don't have to buy a hunter's cottage or anything and wait for it to build to then get more houses down on the ground straight away. Tip number 3, level up your units as fast as possible. You can see just down here the experience bar. As you're leveling him up, particularly soldiers earlier on, you'll go from 3-shotting units to 2-shotting units, making clearing the map a lot easier. Tip number 4, particularly in the early game, make sure you use patrols. All you need to do is click P, press your button, and you'll see a line come up. But even more than that, if you need to patrol around a corner, you just, if I cancel it off, just hold shift, press P, and you can do a patrol where it can walk around your walls if your walls are at an angle. Tip number 5, make sure you place your houses in rows and columns of 2s, otherwise they'll block each other and you'll not get the most out of the space that you've got. Tip number 6, when you're placing your walls down on your extra tree line, you can't always see what you're placing, so just to make sure that you've got your fence right up to your tree line, press middle mouse button, it'll turn it to grid view and you can see exactly where you stand and if they can get through. Tip number 7, power. If you run out of power and you can't build any more buildings, sometimes you can't build any more houses due to lack of power, and can't build any more power due to lack of workers, go to a sawmill or a mine, turn it off, that'll free up some workers, then you can build your power, then you can turn back on your buildings. Tip number 8, hotkeys. When you get into it and you've got more and more buildings, you want hotkeys to flip between them fast. I always press Control 1 for my main building and then Control 2 for my soldier centres, so forth and so on. Tip number 9, use extra repair all so that your weak spots on your fence get repaired. Tip number 10, markets. They lower the food requirement of all the houses, as you can see, which is massive. Markets also sell off extra resources automatically and you can manually buy and sell what you need. Tip number 11, warehouses. Warehouses are very, very good. You can only place so many, so you can only have one in that green square, and then you can have another one out of the green square, another one, so you get more the bigger the colony gets. As you can see, it increases your wood production, your food production, your production from your mines, so the overall benefit is massive. And when you're not paying attention and your resources are piling up, it just adds an extra cap to your stockpile, so you get extra, you're storing extra resources per warehouse. So instead of having a cap of say 50, you can get to into the hundreds, if not even the thousands of the different resources, depending on how fast and efficient you are at placing them. Tip number 12, if you've got a wave incoming and you wait and see which direction it's coming from, if you save a little bit of gold, you can then just place towers roughly where it's incoming from. Tip number 13, clear the map as fast as possible. The zombies on the map are finite, so when you've cleared them, but if you don't clear them, they come with the final wave. Tip number 14, inns. Much like banks, they make your dwellings produce extra gold, but they've got a much bigger area of effect. You can also hire mercenaries from them.